Hello everyone and welcome back to another Destiny 2 Seasonal Seal Guide. This time we're talking about the brand new season, Season of the Wish. Today we're going to be talking about how to get all of the stuff you need for the WISHBEARER seal title, as well as describing some things that a lot of people don't clarify throughout the season, especially within the first couple days, since a lot of people are still learning it. But I've done basically everything that you can do in the game right now, and pretty certain that I'm able to help you guys out with understanding how to do things. So let's get right into it. First thing I want to mention is that this seasonal seal guide is going to be a work in progress. So for those of you who are watching this the day of the release, there will be some things that are not talked about in this guide. Also, for those of you who are watching this months in the future, yes, there are going to be some things missing in this particular guide. But do keep in mind, I will have a pinned comment that I will consistently update with new guide links so that you can see how to finish the rest of the stuff that are coming out in this season. So, to start off, let's talk about the first and foremost triumph of the entire seal, the Parting Glass. This is simply to complete the quest Wishing All the Best, which is the seasonal quest line that can be completed each week that grants different quest lines. This triumph is time-gated, as are all other seasonal quests from prior seasons, so don't expect to get this one done for a while. The next triumph on the list is Bonus Action. This is to complete and acquire all of the seasonal bonuses. So, how do you do all the seasonal bonuses? If you go to your quest tab where you see all the Season of the Wish quests, you will see a separate section for seasonal bonuses. There used to be a section for Season of the Deep, and now there is a section for Season of the Wish. So, starting off, Wishful Armor Focusing. You have to complete this one by obtaining a full set of Season of the Wish armor. You can get all of this armor from opening Wish engrams by completing the Riven's Lair activity, ranking up your Spirit of Riven reputation, and also by playing the new mission called The Coil. Wishful Weapon Focusing. This one is to obtain any 6 Season of the Wish or reprised Undying weapons, all of which can be obtained from Wish engrams and completing the Coil or Riven's Lair activities. Most of these weapons will be obtained from completing the seasonal quest line this week, so there shouldn't be too many others you'd have to find just by playing other modes. Wishcrafting. Successfully clear pathways in the Riven's Lair playlist or the Coil. Successful completions for pathways in Riven's Lair means completing a specific area in between encounters by getting all 3 of the plates you have to stand on without springing traps and without dying. This means that if you're in a poison room with a poison trap, you might not be able to successfully complete this pathway, but you will be able to go through it. So chances are your better option for completing successful pathways is to go about doing this in the rooms that have the spike traps. Just keep in mind the spikes are those little dots on the floor. You won't know how many times I've seen people in matches today not realize that the spikes come out of those holes. It blows my mind. Soul Crafting. Defeat Vex with reprised Undying weapons. Reprised Undying weapons can be obtained from focusing the Season of the Wish engrams at Spirit of Riven. I've also gotten one to drop from a seasonal activity, so I'm fairly certain you can get them there. It's just a very rare drop. Wishful Generosity. Reach rank 10 with the Spirit of Riven. I'll tell you this much, just from a whole day of grinding and making sure that I understood everything about this season, I managed to reach rank 8 before I was done with the quest line. So chances are you're going to have an easy time getting to rank 10 just so long as you keep playing Riven's Lair. And Riven's Lair is a very short activity compared to the Season of the Witch one, Sabbath Spire. So you're definitely going to have an easier time. Wishful Keys. Redeem 8 lair keys by completing Riven's Lair or the Coil and opening the final chests. Your best bet for this one is to complete the Riven's Lair activity because the Coil is very challenging. This one has 4 whole sections to it that I will discuss in a second when we get to that next challenge. Key Crafting. Complete the Coil activity with a silver or higher score. This one just basically means don't waste a crap load of time trying to get through the Coil activity and try to do it as fast as you can. If you can't do it tremendously fast, that's okay, because I even got a silver or higher score just by completing it and messing up a couple of times on the 3rd boss. The Coil is a pretty weird activity, and I will say that much. It's basically a 4-time simulation where you have to go through Riven Lair activities and fight bosses at the end. Each of the 4 sections are about as long as a normal Riven's Lair completion, and they keep continually getting even more challenging the more and more you do it. So by the 4th one, you're going to be dealing with about 1830 power level enemies, and but it's a match-made activity, and you will have plenty of teammates to help you out. Well wishes. Complete the Blind Well event in the Dreaming City after triggering its heroic encounter. The Blind Well can be found here on the map in the Dreaming City. This is just the normal location that was added in the Dreaming City with Forsaken, and it's the same old thing that it used to be. You claim charges of light, drop them into the pedestal, similar to how the Court of Oryx worked back in Destiny to Taken King, and similar to the Altars of Summoning this previous season. So you're basically going to take the tier 3 summoning, which is the Charge of Light tier 3, place it into the tier 3 pedestal, and you can start this Blind Well activity. It has to be this tier 3 activity in order to get this heroic event that you need. Upon completing the plagues at the very end of this Blind Well encounter, you're going to be able to go back to that middle pedestal and drop an unstable Charge of Light. Doing so will allow you to start the heroic encounter, where you will be facing a gigantic, I'm not even sure what to call this, it's a big beastly looking thing with tentacles. You destroy that and you're done. Your wishes, my commands. The last and final seasonal bonus is to purchase tier 2 or higher dragon gifts in the coil in order to unlock this bonus. Purchasing tier 2 or higher dragon's gifts requires you to play longer and further into the coil activity to keep gaining more shards of glass. These shards of glass, upon starting the coil activity, you'll be granted 100 shards of glass that'll allow you to buy a dragon gift. You can choose to buy tier 1 gifts as soon as you start, or you can choose to save them. Personally, I think it's best to try to buy a couple on the first try and then save some for the second, because most likely by the second time you go to the next loop, you will have plenty of shards of glass to buy a tier 2 dragon's gift. Now, as far as I know, I don't believe you actually have to fully complete the coil all the way to the end in order to get these dragon gifts to count, because that did not happen on my first run through. They did count the first time, but there is a chance that Bungie could fix this later on and make this so that it doesn't happen again. It all depends on whether they end up doing it like they did with prior seasons. So that is how you get all the bonuses in the second part of the seal title. Now let's move on to the third. O Guardian Mine. Reset your rank with the Spirit of Riven. Basically, this one is just complete activities such as Riven's Lair and the Coil to progress leveling for the rank reputation. It's the same thing that we used to do. Reset rank is 17. You have to get to rank 16 to unlock all the rewards, and then an extra rank after that in order to reset it all. Lair Crawler. Complete pathways in Riven's Lair. Upon opening Riven's Lair, you're going to be meeting with certain encounters. One that is a puzzle that has 3 plates that you have to step on, while different traps are enabled through the room. You could be dealing with 3 different types of traps as of this first week. Spike traps that are on the floor, poison traps that activate when you get closer to them, and darkness traps that allow you to cleanse yourself in these light pools that are scattered without this puzzle room. In order to complete a pathway, you have to go through and complete this entire section, getting all 3 plates and entering through the ending portal without dying. I did not get any of these to count when I died, and I did not get successful completions for the prior bonus unless I didn't spring any traps. So I don't know if it's just something that doesn't work properly and that has to be fixed later, but that's what I found from doing this. Completing pathways in the Coil activity do grant bonus progress. Riven's Relics. This is to open chests in Riven's Lair and the Coil. Now let me say this much. There are a lot of people out there that assume because there are some hidden chests behind the walls in Riven's Lair that this is a time-gated challenge. I am here to tell you that this challenge is not time-gated. I am on the 3rd step and I am at 25 total chests already. And here is why. In the Riven's Lair activity, there are going to be these chests hidden behind walls that you can't get to through these doors. That is because they are exclusive to the coil activity. Riven's Lair completions and opening chests at the end of Riven's Lair do count for opening chests, but you can get bonus chests by going behind these doors after completing pathways in the coil. So, for example, you see here on screen, I just completed a pathway in the coil, and then I moved to this door, which has opened. You will be met with 2 chests, one with a spike trap underneath it, and one without. The spike trap chests are mimic chests that are there to kill you. If someone dies to the mimic chest before opening the other one, they will disappear. If you open the correct chest, the mimic chest will disappear after a short time. So your best bet in order to complete this triumph is to go and open as many chests as you can in the coil activity. Riven's Lair will only give you 1 chest per activity completion. Meanwhile, the coil could have multiple. Rolled stats. Purchase Dragon's Gifts in the coil using Fused Wishing Glass. Fused Wishing Glass can be obtained from breaking pots within the beginning section of the coil. Completing the activity fully grants the progress for this triumph. Simply doing this and then leaving the activity doesn't count. Also, the pots that you have to break within the coil are not only found within the beginning section of the coil, they just start there. It's actually kind of like a signifier to show you that there will be some other stuff hidden around. There will be pots in those secret doors with the chests, there will be pots scattered around nearby the puzzle plates, and there might even be some right before the boss encounters. Up next is a secret triumph that a lot of people are not sure what it is. Well, I have a theory, but again, like I said at the beginning of this video, this triumph might be something I'll have to do a future guide on, and I actually fully intend to do another guide on it later. This secret triumph might be, and I'm going to put this here, spoilers for something upcoming in the season. If you want to skip this, go to this timestamp right here on this video. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that so that you guys don't get spoiled by accident. 3, 2, 1. This secret triumph is most likely relevant to the brand new exotic quest line called Star-Crossed. There is a secret exotic mission that gives you an exotic bow, and chances are this secret triumph is that. I can't imagine that there would be anything else, considering the only collectibles that we're going to have within this season is, well, already out in a later triumph that I'm about to discuss. Weapon proficiency. Defeat combatants in the Dreaming City. Targets defeated in seasonal activities award additional progress. This triumph will literally finish for most everyone upon finishing the seasonal quest line for this week. It is very easy, and I literally, it's done. This took me not even an hour. Up next, Heroic Effort. This is just to complete a single run of the coil activity. Completing a full run does not mean killing one boss. You have to go through and kill one boss, loop around again, kill another boss, loop around again, kill a third boss, and then loop around a 4th time and kill the boss until you see mission complete on the top left. Familiar Felines. This one is a pretty interesting challenge, and there are a couple of locations that are revealed, but only 2 of them are available within the first week. If you're a veteran player who played Destiny 2 Forsaken, you'll probably remember that there were a couple of star cats hidden around in the Dreaming City for a prior challenge. This time, we need them for the seal. There are star cats hidden around the Dreaming City and in Riven's Lair. So here are the locations that we have for this week. The first one is found in the Blind Well. This one says, the star cat likes to wait by the door. I found this by accident while going through the Blind Well, and I was like, oh, well, okay, cool. And then I looked at the Triumph, and it literally tells you in the Triumph where they're found. So, even better. Up next for this week is another one called the Garden of Plenty. So, this is a little bit of a weird one. When you're in Riven's Lair, you're going to get a special mission name on the top left. The specific mission that you have this week is called Polysemy. This one is basically residing in the Garden of Plenty. So once you go and you see that Polysemy title on the top left, that means you've entered into the Garden of Plenty. It looks like the Gardens of Essela from the Dreaming City, except there's giant Vex confluxes in the back and a ton of Vex around the area. Simply follow where I'm going in this video and you'll see the star cat hidden over just a little tiny gap off the left side cliff. Now here's a couple of other locations that are available in the files of the game right now. As of making this video, there are 7 star cats completely unknown with no location tied to them, but there are 5 of them that are available to see in the files so far, starting with the Temple of the Queen's Wrath. This one is unlockable specifically in the Riven's Lair. This one says, this star cat likes to hide in nooks. So for those of you who don't know what that means, nooks and crannies basically means that it's hidden within a tiny little corner, a tiny little gap somewhere in this area. So when you get to that point where you get to the Temple of the Queen's Wrath, there will be a star cat hidden in that area. The Chamber of Starlight Lost Sector. This is outside of the Riven's Lair or seasonal activities, and this requires you to go to the actual Dreaming City Lost Sector, and this says the star cat likes to calculate gravity. We'll get there when we get there. Up next is the Gardens of Essela star cat. This one likes to hide near the water's edge. This also is found in the Dreaming City node on the directory. This is not in a seasonal activity. Confluence. This one likes to stare into the void. Chances are this one is probably found in front of the Shattered Throne dungeon load-in, because there is no other void in the Confluence that I can think of. And finally, the last star cat we have in the files as of right now. This one is located in Riven's Lair in a section called the Astral Cloister. This star cat likes to enjoy its solitude, so chances are it's near some sort of meditation section, or maybe it's just isolated in a room by itself. But that is all for this video for the Season of the Wish guide. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this was helpful in some way in understanding how to get through the seasonal activities, how to do some of the bonuses, and how to find all the star cats. Everything that I have talked about that is not fully finished and has not fully come out yet with the season, I will be discussing everything further once it gets to that point within the season, so chances are you'll be seeing an entire guide from me later talking about how to find all 14 of the star cats, and I'm also going to be doing an exotic mission guide. But until then, that's all for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything else that I decide to do throughout the season, I'll put it in the pinned comment alongside everything else. But keep an eye out for that pinned comment. If there's something that's brand new for a weekly reset, chances are it'll go right there as soon as I can do it. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time.